You're listening to the Shigeaki Podcast, where food is wisdom, movement is medicine, and aging is a chance to get stronger, not weaker. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and I'm here again with my co-host, a true legend of longevity, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, a man who practiced medicine well past his 100th birthday. Now, I want to open today's episode with a story that shook me as a doctor. A patient of mine, David, 72 years old, came in for a routine checkup. He was the kind of man who followed every health blog, every podcast. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink. He rode his stationary bike every single day for 90 minutes and walked at least 5 miles daily. His diet, low-fat plant, heavy plenty of grains. He did everything right. At least, that's what we both thought. But he started noticing something strange. Walking up the stairs left him breathless. He couldn't finish sentences after light activity. At night, he'd wake up with a pounding heart soaked in sweat. We ran some tests, and what we found stunned him. His heart was showing signs of strain, not from weakness, but from being overworked. His left ventricular wall was thickening. His resting cortisol was chronically high. His inflammation markers CRP and IL-6 were off the charts. And yet, he hadn't had a heart attack. He hadn't skipped a single workout. In fact, that was exactly the problem.
This is something we've seen many times in Japan, Mark. Older adults who believe movement always equals health, but forget that the heart is not a machine. It needs rhythm, it needs recovery, and it needs to be listened to. Too often we confuse effort with wisdom. In my 70 years of practicing medicine, I've seen elders walk themselves into exhaustion. Not because they were lazy, but because they were told, move more or die. But no one taught them how to move with care.
Exactly. That's what this episode is about. Today we're not here to scare you out of moving your body. We're here to show you what kind of exercise can quietly damage your heart, especially after 60, and what kind of movement can heal it. Because the truth is not all exercise is good exercise. There's a specific kind of workout that seniors around the world are doing because it sounds healthy, but it's actually pushing their cardiovascular system into silent stress day after day. And in this episode, we're going to reveal what that exercise is, show the early warning signs your heart may already be struggling, and most importantly, give you a safer science-backed way to move with strength and peace.
In Japan, we've always said do not fight your body, befriend it. And when you are over 60, the body is asking for harmony, not force. So if you are someone who's been exercising every day, but feel more tired, more breathless, or just not as strong as you hoped, please stay with us.
And if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, tap the bell so you never miss an episode, and share this with someone who's been trying hard, but maybe training their heart the wrong way. Let's dive in. Let's get straight to the point. One of the most dangerous things you can do for your heart after 60 is overdo cardio. I know it sounds backwards. We've always been told that cardio is king, right? That the more you move, the better your heart gets. But what if I told you that the very thing you think is saving your heart might be slowly wearing it down?
Yes, in fact, I've seen this happen to many of my patients in Japan. They retire and they start exercising more. It seems like a good habit. But instead of helping their heart, they start to experience breathlessness, fatigue, and even arrhythmias because they are doing the wrong kind of cardio and too much of it.
We're talking about chronic long-duration cardio, like an hour a day on the elliptical machine, or 10 miles of cycling or 5-mile jogs every morning, every day without enough rest. This type of training is what we call monotonous high-volume cardio, and it puts your heart under constant stress. It raises your cortisol levels. It creates oxidative stress in your blood vessels. And for older adults whose mitochondria are already slowing down, this can accelerate heart fatigue.
Let me give you a real-life example. One of my patients, a 70-year-old man, rode his stationary bike for 45 minutes every day without fail. He drank green smoothies, avoided sugar, and kept a healthy weight. But every time he climbed stairs, he felt a strange tightness in his chest and skipped beats at night. When we tested him, he showed signs of left atrial enlargement, a condition often seen in long-distance runners or cyclists who overtrain. His heart was literally being overworked, not strengthened.
That's the key. Your heart is a muscle, but it's also an organ that thrives on balance and rhythm, not brute force. And what most people don't realize is that aging hearts don't adapt the same way. Your vascular walls become less elastic. Your recovery slows down. And instead of building resilience, you're actually increasing the risk of heart wall thinning, irregular rhythms, and even inflammatory damage to your cardiac tissue.
In Japan, we've long favored gentler, lower-impact exercises. Most seniors practice radio taiso tai chi or simply take long walks through the park. These exercises encourage blood flow, relaxation, and breathing, not adrenaline or pounding heart rates. We aim for harmony in movement. A heart in rhythm is a heart at peace.
And science backs this up. Chronic high-intensity cardio can lead to elevated cortisol that stays high for hours. Over time, that can raise blood pressure, increase belly fat, and most dangerously interfere with your heart's electrical signaling. In fact, one study showed that people who did more than 7 hours of cardio a week had higher levels of coronary artery calcification than those who exercised moderately.
The rhythm of your heart matters more than the number of calories you burn. In our culture, we don't chase exhaustion. We pursue vitality, even if it means moving slower.
So, if you've been told to just keep moving, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, are you feeling more energized after your workout, or more drained? Does your heart feel stronger, or more erratic? Because movement should restore you, not deplete you, all right? So, we've talked about the kind of exercise that can quietly wear your heart down, but how do you know it's already happening? Your body is always sending signals. The question is, are you listening?
The first sign is unstable heart rate after exercise. I had a 69-year-old patient who told me his heart would flutter at night after his daily jog. During the day, he felt fine, but as he lay in bed, his heart would pound or skip beats. He thought it was anxiety. But when we monitored his heart, we saw irregular rhythms that lingered long after his workout. It turned out his cardio routine was keeping his sympathetic nervous system activated for too long, never giving his body a chance to return to parasympathetic calm.
Exactly. This is more common than people think. When your heart rate doesn't settle back to normal within an hour of working out, especially if you're over 60, that's a red flag. It means your recovery system is overloaded, and it's not just about fluttering at night. Some people experience resting tachycardia, a consistently high resting pulse even on rest days.
Another clue is unusual fatigue. Not just the eye worked out kind of tired, but a deep, lingering tiredness that makes it hard to concentrate or climb stairs later in the day. Sometimes it shows up as mild chest tightness, especially when walking uphill or after meals. Other times it's restless sleep or waking up gasping. These are all messages from a heart that's struggling to recover, not one that's getting stronger.
Yes, and one that surprises a lot of people is shortness of breath on small hills, or even while talking and walking. I had a patient 73 years old, very disciplined. He woke up at 5 a.m. every day to do 30 minutes on the treadmill. But over time, he noticed he couldn't walk up his driveway without needing to stop and breathe. He thought it was his lungs or just aging. But when we ran tests, it was clear his heart was under chronic stress. His morning treadmill sessions were quietly exhausting his reserves.
In Japan, we call this condition silent strain, because there's no pain, no dramatic symptom, until there is. That's why we teach people to observe their energy, their breath, and even their emotions after exercise. If you feel agitated, dizzy, irritable, or deeply drained after moving, your heart may not be happy.
I love that concept, silent strain. The truth is, most heart issues in seniors don't show up with big dramatic heart attacks. They show up with slower recovery, erratic rhythms, sleeplessness, and this quiet sense of exhaustion. You just can't shake. We need to stop normalizing that. Okay, let's shift from what's hurting your heart to what actually heals it. Because here's the truth. Your heart isn't asking you to stop moving. It's asking you to move smarter. And for people over 60, that starts with training in the right zone.
Yes. In Japan, we call this movement with awareness. The right kind of exercise is not about speed or sweat. It's about maintaining balance in the body, especially the cardiovascular system. One of the best approaches we've seen both in modern science and traditional practice is something called Zone 2 training.
Zone 2 training is gentle but powerful. It's when your heart rate is around 90 to 110 beats per minute. You're moving, maybe even breathing a bit heavier, but you can still hold a conversation. This zone helps improve your mitochondrial health, your metabolic flexibility, and your aerobic endurance without overstressing your heart. Here's what it looks like. A 45-minute outdoor walk, slightly brisk, but still relaxed. A light bike ride enjoying the scenery without racing, or even swimming gently in a pool where your breath guides your pace.
In Japan, our seniors often practice radio taiso, a short morning routine with controlled breathing joint movements and rhythmic gestures. It's only 3 to 5 minutes, but it brings the whole body into harmony before the day begins. We also recommend Tai Chi, which is like poetry in motion, fluid, slow, but deeply effective for the nervous system and circulation.
And here's the other side of this strength training. Most seniors ignore it because they think lifting weights is for young people. But I'll say this as clearly as I can. If you're over 60, strength training is not optional. It's the secret to maintaining heart health, bone density, metabolic function, and balance.
That's right. I often ask my patients to start with very simple movements. Sit to stand from a chair 10 times, wall push-ups, holding a plank on the knees for just 20 seconds. These may seem small, but they stimulate core muscles, posture alignment, and even blood pressure regulation.
And once you feel more confident, you can add resistance bands or light dumbbells. The key is to build consistency, not intensity. Try doing strength exercises 2 to 3 times a week, focusing on large muscle groups like your legs, hips, and back. This also improves venous return, how blood flows back to the heart, which means less stress during daily activities.
The rhythm matters. We often advise our patients to follow a weekly pattern like this. 3 gentle cardio sessions, walking, swimming, Tai Chi. 2 strength sessions, sit to stand resistance bands. 1 breathing or mindfulness session, deep breathing, meditation, stretching. This gives the body diversity, structure, and recovery.
And we can't talk about longevity without talking about strength training. After 60, you're not just losing muscle, you're losing the protective cushion around your heart and blood vessels. Basic movements like body weight squats, standing up and down from a chair light, dumbbell lifts, or plank holds can make a huge difference. We're not aiming for big muscles, we're aiming for strong function.
I often suggest combining Zone 2 cardio with low-impact strength. For example, walk for 20 minutes, then do 5 minutes of slow squats and shoulder movements. That's enough to stimulate blood flow, activate the muscles, and signal to your heart. We are moving with care.
Yes, and speaking of recovery, let's not forget sleep, hydration, and nutrition as part of your exercise strategy. If you're not sleeping well or drinking enough water, even the best training won't help your heart heal. I'll share a tip I give all my patients. Before you start a walk or a workout, pause and ask your body, do I feel stable, calm, ready? And after, ask again, do I feel restored or drained? This is biofeedback, and it's the most powerful trainer you'll ever have.
Beautifully said. In Japanese philosophy, we call this kehai, the unspoken sense of presence. When your heart is in harmony with your breath, your pace, your rhythm, you can feel it, and you should honor that.
So, if you've been punishing your body to try to get healthier, please stop. Your heart isn't a warrior, it's a drummer. It needs rhythm, it needs variety, and it needs rest between beats. In the next part, we'll walk you through a simple 3-minute morning heart test, something anyone can do at home to check if their heart is recovering properly. No lab tests, no gym, just your body, your breath, and your awareness. Here's something I wish every person over 60 did before breakfast. It's not a workout, it's not a supplement. It's a test, a simple morning check-in with your heart that takes just 3 minutes and could change the way you age.
Yes, in Japan we have a saying, begin the day by listening to your pulse. The heart speaks quietly, but if you know how to observe it, tells you everything.
So, here's how it works. When you wake up, before you drink coffee, before you open your phone, sit on the edge of your bed and measure your resting heart rate. If it's higher than usual by 10-15 beats per minute, it may be a sign your heart is still recovering from yesterday's effort or that your body is under stress.
Then we move to what I call the chair test. Simply stand up and sit down from a chair, 10 times slowly and with control. No need to rush. Now sit again. Wait 1 minute. Measure your heart rate again.
Here's what you're watching for. How hard is your breathing afterward? How fast did your heart rate climb? And how quickly did it come down? If your heart is still racing after a full minute, or if you feel unexpectedly tired or dizzy, that's a sign your cardiovascular system needs more gentle support, not more pushing.
I tell my patients, if you cannot recover from small effort, you are not ready for big effort. This test is like looking in the mirror, but for your heart. It reflects not just your fitness, but your resilience.
And the best part? You can do it every day. It's free, safe, and takes 3 minutes. Over time, you'll start seeing trends. You'll learn when your body's ready for movement and when it's asking you to rest.
A wise heart doesn't ask for intensity. It asks for understanding.
If you've been exercising for years and suddenly you're feeling more tired, more breathless, or less energized, it's not because you're weak, and it's definitely not because you're lazy. Most likely no one ever told you that, after 60, your heart needs a new kind of care, one that respects its age, honors its limits, and strengthens it gently.
Yes, people think movement means effort. But at my age, I've lived more than 100 years. I can tell you movement should bring peace. The heart is not a machine. It's a living rhythm. And like a song, it can't be forced. It needs to flow, to breathe, to rest.
Healthy aging isn't about pushing harder. It's about aging wiser. If your workouts are leaving you breathless, sleepless, or anxious, they may be taking more from your heart than they're giving back.
And if you change just one thing after this episode, let it be this: move with intention, not intensity. Walk, breathe, stretch, and smile with every step. Let your heart feel safe inside your body, not chased.
You've been listening to the Shigeaki Podcast, where movement is medicine and age is no excuse to stop becoming stronger. If this episode opened your eyes, subscribe and click the bell so you never miss a gentle reminder like this. Share it with a friend who's working hard but might be working wrong. And tell us in the comments, how did your heart feel after today's message? Thank you, and take good care of that beautiful heart of yours.